Welcome to once again in the Department of English, RBNB College, Sri Rampur. And you are watching a video which is very helpful to you in your day-to-day life. And the video is based on communication skills, which is prescribed at F.Y.B.A. English Compulsory, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. So far as this paper is concerned, we have completed prose section, poetry section, grammar section, and this is the fourth section related to communication skills. So here I made the plan in which way we have to go through this video. First of all, the importance of communication. How the communication is useful in our day-to-day life. The second point is what are the types of communication. The third one is what are the different elements of communication. The fourth one is what are the pathways, or it is also known as the channels of communication. And the last one is the different occasions on which we have to use certain phrases or certain dialogues. Now I come to the first point, that is importance of communication. So as you know that human being is the only creature on the earth which communicate effectively. Other animals can also communicate, but they have their own limitations. So language is the gift for the human being, and it is very hard for us to leave ourselves away from using the language. How does a human being learn language? And there are 4 basic skills in which we have to adapt to learn any language in the world. That is known as L, S, R and W. S stands for listening, S for speaking, R for reading and W for writing. So these are the 4 basic skills of language learning. Now, as far as the English is concerned, we can listen it. Okay, so we have a lot of opportunities to listen English. For example, we watch English videos, English movies, cricket commentaries, English bulletin, like this. Then we understand English. That is, but unfortunately, we cannot express ourselves in English. So this is I think the main problem. We can read English, we can write English. The problem only is related to oral communication, and that is speaking. So first of all, as you know that any language or any communication are of 2 types. Number 1 is oral communication, and number 2 is written communication. So this communication is very helpful, it is very important, it plays a vital role in our private life as well as public life. Whether you are in any sector, I think that communication plays a vital role. Due to your communication, you can impress the others. So we can say that communication is the integral part of our life, or moreover I say that it is the need, it is the demand of modern age, because in the modern age on lot of occasions you have to communicate with different people. So how to communicate with them properly, in this video we are going to learn it. Now if we study what is the process of conveying message, and it is the only, that is the communication. It may be written communication or maybe oral communication. So through language, through communication, we express our thoughts, our ideas, our emotions, our feelings, etc. The communication is used at different level. For example, to get information, we have to communicate. To pursue somebody, we have to communicate. To play a communication also plays a static role even also. So this is the importance of, we can say, communication. Now I come to the next point, that is, what are the elements of communication? Number one is the content. The content is very important. That is the subject, on what subject you are going to communicate with the others. As you already know, that communication at least needs two persons, or one person and the other may be a group. For example, I am communicating with you, I am the individual, and you the students in the classroom. There is a group. So I am communicating with you. I am the single individual and you are in large number. We can say mob. You see at the time of election, so people, the leaders, they take meetings, etc., and they gather a mob, and they, we can say, for the sake of propaganda, the policy of their parties, they speak in front of the people. That means they communicate the policies of their parties. And if your communication is good, there are a lot of examples on the world level. You see how the good leaders are good communicators. So first of all, you have to listen it, and through this listening practice, you will get automatically this technique to how to communicate effectively. So the first part is content is very important. Well, what is the content? That is the subject matter on which you are communicating, or we can say this is the physical form of language. Okay, this is the, in short or in easy language, we say this is the topic on which you are going to communicate with individual or a group. The second element is, that is the sender, or we can say encoder. What is the encoder? Again maybe a group, again maybe individual. Suppose I am talking with you, I am the sender, I am the encoder. And the third one is, the third content of communication is the form. And what is this form? This language I am using. For example, this video is of compulsory English. I am talking with you, or I am expressing my ideas, views, or thoughts through this language, that is English language. So here English is, I say, form. Sometime this form may be in a spoken format or written format. When you read the letters, when you read the newspaper, that means the editor of the newspaper is communicating with you, and it is a written communication. Okay, and suppose you are in the classroom and your teacher is teaching you. This is direct communication. Okay, and written communication is also known as indirect communication. So direct communication maybe of these different format, again we say. Then in the spoken language, in the spoken communication, again there are two types, two important, we can say, elements. And which are they? That is verbal communication or non-verbal communication. Let us know what is verbal communication and what is non-verbal communication. So verbal communication means when you are in the class, your teacher is talking with you, or is teaching to you, or is expressing his or her own ideas to you. So the language he used, the words he used, the sentences he used, it is known as verbal communication. Then this verbal communication sometime may be the written communication. But what is non-verbal communication? That is non-verbal communication again plays a very important role in the communication. Even sometime the communication is made up with non-verbal communication. For example, sounds, signs, symbols, movements, body posture, expressions, etc. For example, red, on traffic, the traffic signals, for example, red, yellow and green. That means that pole, that signal pole communicates with you. You have seen the railway signals, for example. So that signal communicates with the driver. You see, it is also, we can say, communication, but it is non-verbal communication. When you see geographical map, you see certain parts of the map is shown in sky blue color. So what is this sky blue color? Sky blue color indicates water. Okay. Then I'd like to give you certain examples of sounds. For example, the blowing whistle. We get the message, or firefighter bell. Okay, firefighter bell gives you message, or ambulance. The ambulance gives you signals through the sound that the ambulance must get the way. Okay, so again this is also a part of communication, but it is non-verbal communication. We also see sometimes cross. So you know the meaning of cross, that it is related to particular religion, Christian religion, or Om, for example, it belongs to Hindu. Okay, so if you see the signs, you can understand. Okay, so these are the different ways of communication and how non-verbal communication plays an important role in our day-to-day life. Perhaps again, there is a separate, we can say, study of non-verbal communication, how it is used in a proper way or effectively. So far as the individual is concerned, so because you have to go to the market, you have to prove yourself, and while to prove yourself, you have to use the proper body language. So what is this body language? For example, my eyes. When I teach to the students, my camera must move from one side to other side. My eyes should cover the whole classroom. If I start to look at the roof and start teaching, nobody will take care of me, or nobody listen at me. Okay, so this is not the proper gesture. Sometimes we make communication through our hands even also. That is, I also make certain movements of my hands. What is this? This is non-verbal communication, and this non-verbal communication plays a great role in the effective communication. So we have to learn all of these non-verbal communication. Suppose this is the example of coming. Okay, coming. Or this is the example, it indicates, or this indicates something different. We for victory. So what is it? It is a part of communication. It is the non-verbal communication, I say. So the next element of communication is the channel. Means the first is the content. The second one is the encoder, that is the speaker, we say in simple language we say. The third one is the form, that is the language, and that is verbal and non-verbal communication related to it. The next one is the channel. The fourth one is the channel. Which channel we use to communicate? What is this channel? Channel means, in simply we say, the medium of transmission. When I talk to you, suppose I'm communicating with you through the video, okay, through the video. So what is my channel? You are watching, suppose, video, because I have already recorded it some days before, and you are watching now. That means there is a huge gap. There is no direct communication. This is indirect communication. So how the message is transmitted? Suppose you are in front of me, then I utter some words, utter some sentences, I give some examples. The words come out of my mouth, and the waves, due to the waves, the message is transmitted to your ears. So this is the important, we can say, channel of communication. The next element is the decoder, or in simple language we say receiver. Suppose I am talking, that means I am encoder and you are the decoder. Whatever I say, if I indicate my index finger at a particular student and say, you stand up, that means I communicate with that student, and that student will stand up. So he encodes the message why I want to say, and he behaves according to my wish, according to my suggestions. Okay, so you are the encoder. If you are not attending my lecture properly, perhaps you cannot understand or you will confuse what I am going to say. So this element also very important. Okay, this communication may be vertical or may be horizontal. Now I come to the next point, that is the pathways of communication. So what are the pathways, or what are the channels of communication? The first one is there may be the parallel communication, or the downward communication, or the upward communication. Especially as far as this class is concerned, you are going to study the two important we can say pathways or channels of communication, and the first one is, that is the downward communication. So what is this downward communication? Downward communication means the communication from top to bottom, or top to the lower hierarchy. So this is also vertical communication. What is this downward communication? For example, you are in a particular office, or you are working, or you are in service of any sector. Your boss gives you certain suggestions, and suppose you are the last member of that organization. How do you get the message? That the director bodies or the chairman never directly talks with you. There is a channel is made. As far as our college suppose is concerned, so whatever the head of the institution or the chairman of this institution gives certain instructions to the different regions, and the different regions send the message to the different colleges and high schools. Then the headmasters and principals gives the message to their office superintendent or registrars, and then the registrars or office superintendent sends the message to the head of the department. Head of the department communicates the message with his colleagues, and these colleagues send you the message to the students. So this is known as downward communication. But that means the communication is made from the top to bottom. Okay, so this is the hierarchy. This communication may be the oral communication or may be the written communication. Generally, it is used to give notice or circulars, or we can say instructions, orders and memos. But there is the we can say demerits of this communication. And what is this demerit of this process? That is the distortion of the message. What is the distortion of the message? Distortion of message means nothing else, but sometimes what happens? The boss is going to say something, and the we can say bottom level workers get different message. So it is also known as the Chinese whisper. Okay, it is also known as the Chinese whisper, because he is going to say something and the others are going to say something, because everybody think according to his or her own way, and everyone has his or her own thinking capability or capacity. So sometimes the meaning is changed. Okay, and if the drawback of this system is that there may be the chances of sometime blockage to sending the message. For example, if there is a hierarchy, if there is a chain, if sometime the chain is break, somebody never sends the message to the we can say the bottom level workers, then the problem maybe arises. Suppose the chairman of your organization, the chairman of your factory gives you certain message that you have to submit such and such kind of report up to this up to the end of this month, and suppose there is a blockage to the message, somebody never sent the message to the bottom level, what will happen? There only 2 days are remaining. Suppose that person is ill, he is out of the country, maybe the blockage, so he will not filter the message, and the last stage they will hardly get time to prepare the reports. So this is the drawback of this method. Then the next one is known as upward communication. It is just opposite to downward communication, from bottom to the top. Okay, and this is also one of the important, we can say, pathway of communication. How it is, generally it is used to send feedbacks. Suppose you are manager of a company, how do you get the feedback of your customers? And the workers in your department, the workers in your we can say company or your factory gives you the support, gives you feedback, and this feedback or this sometimes the bottom level workers gives you valuable suggestions. So nobody have to think that I am the correct. Okay, so everybody in one, how God has given brain to everyone. So sometime I may be the manager, but the worker of my department, the worker of my factory may be thinking, may be giving me, or may have his or her own ideas which can helpful to me in the development of my organization or progress of my organization. So it is very useful. That is why I say it is very useful to get the feedbacks of the customers and get the valuable suggestions, and naturally it helps to improve the organization and taking the sound decisions. Okay, but so for some time what happened, the bottom level workers, they are afraid to talk with the manager or the top person or the, we can say, boss. So on such occasions, what is the solution of it? The suggestion box, for example, is the best solution for it. Or the bottom level workers directly can send the email to the manager, to write a letter, to make a phone call. But sometimes what happens? Sometimes they are afraid to call their boss. They are afraid to call the manager. Okay, because there is a huge gap between this hierarchy. And then what happened? The bottom level workers, they communicate with their manager through the upward communication. Okay, suppose I am at the end of this hierarchy, suppose, and you are senior to me. What happens? I would like to communicate. Suppose here this figure will make it clear. This is A, B and C, or D, we can say another example. Suppose Mr. D is the worker of your organization and Mr. A is the manager of your organization. Suppose D, due to education, due to opportunities, he is a worker. Okay. maybe he a talented person, but somehow we can say maybe unlucky person that he is a worker. This worker may have extra knowledge than Mr. B. Might be happen. So what generally happen? This D gives valuable suggestion for this A, because A is the manager of the organization, but Mr. B has less knowledge. Suppose this person is highly educated and this person has got the job just 20 years ago, 15 years ago. That is why he is senior. Okay, and Mr. D would like to give the valuable suggestion to for the improvement of the organization. But what generally happen? That Mr. B thinks that Mr. D is overcrossing me or overtakes me, and that is why he never gives valuable suggestion to Mr. A, and there is the blockage of the message. Then what is the solution? That sometime the manager should talk directly to Mr. D. He or she, the manager may be he, may be she. He or may should directly speak with the Mr. D. What are your difficulties? My organization has these difficulties. How to solve it? What is your solution? So if there is a direct communication, I hope or I think that this communication would be more interesting, more effective. So this is about communication skills part 1. In part 2 and part 3, we are going to study how to talk with the because the last point is the different occasions. On different occasions, what are these occasions? For example, greeting, responses to greeting, asking permission, giving permission, introducing yourself, introducing others, how to apologize with the people. So the next videos would be related to it, and please remember this chart. And this chart is in the chart, because when we communicate with the other people, we have to go through this chart, that whether the person is neutral or safe, whether which language I have to select, that is whether it is informal or formal. In detail, we will see it in the next video. Thank you to spare time with me.